For building a listing from scratch on eBay. And I'm going to assume that you are a new seller, so we're going to build that listing completely from scratch. We are in our seller hub right now. You're going to go to listings, click on listings, give it a second. I don't know why eBay's a little slow today. Create listing, and it's going to take us right here. This is where you're going to build your title, and we're going to do the same thing that I was working on here. As you can see, I have a couple run-throughs of this. So we're going to work on some Crocs, women's, the size, the style, and we'll put rubber sandals black. And then we'll click Get Started. And this is where eBay is going to try to read your title and see if it can get some information from it, like that it's a sandal, it's black, it's for women, it's named Crocs Isabella. So do not click a $4 standout with a bold title. Never do that. Please, for the love of God, just don't use that. You don't need a subtitle either that doesn't pertain to us as sellers of clothing, shoes, toys, things like that. Your custom label SKU is if you are going to be utilizing an inventory system. For me, I custom label with the date that I am listing it on, and that helps me keep track of how long I've had the item and where I put it. So I would put something like this. Now here we go to category, and eBay successfully found that it was in women's shoes and sandals, which was great. If eBay doesn't come up with the right thing for you here, just click search categories and type in what you are looking for, and it will come up in the list. It never comes up first. For whatever reason, I don't know why that happens, but there it is. Women, women's shoes, sandals, click it, submit, and it updates your category. If you have a store, the next thing that will come up is the store category that it's going to go in your store. I do have a store, and I have a shoe section, so it goes in my shoes. If you have a brand new item that has a tag and a UPC, you would enter a UPC number here, but that doesn't concern us because we're selling used clothing and shoes. The condition is extremely important. Pre-owned. Even if you are looking at it and you're like, ooh, this doesn't look worn. Pre-owned. Pre-owned, pre-owned, pre-owned. And this is where you're going to put something like excellent, gently worn condition, very lightly worn with no flaws, recently cleaned. Give your buyers an accurate description of what it is you have done with your item here. And then we're going to go to pictures. Computer, I take my pictures on my phone, I airdrop them right into my computer, so they're in my downloads folder, and I generally put them into my computer already photo edited if needed. So let's click open. I am going to show you really quickly. I do have a photo here that I would have brightened up, and I do want to show you how to just use that photo editor really quick. It's really not rocket science, but I'm just going to show it to you anyway. So that's a different pair of shoes, and there's too much gray in the photo for my liking. So you could see how like dirty and messy my background is. So I just click on this little thing right here. You adjust the brightness and the contrast. That's the secret right there to pretty much all those photos that pop up beautifully. Brightness and contrast. Now you can overdo both, so you need to, make sure that you have a light hand with it. I never use this option from eBay. I never use this option, and I don't ever need. I crop sometimes, and I almost never need to rotate my photos because my phone does that automatically. So this is my pictures of my Crocs Isabella. If you need to get some schooling in how to take photos of shoes, I have a whole video on that, and I'll link it up in here in a moment. And here you go. So this is item specifics. This is crazy important to the success of your listing and your ability to sell the item. This is second to how well you take your pictures. So you need to make sure all these things are filled out, especially the ones that obviously have a little star. So brand, Crocs, color, black. The style, there are not really great options for style in a lot of the drop-down menus, and I highly recommend only picking what the drop-down menu has, because you are more likely to come up in search with a drop-down menu option chosen. So I choose strappy most of the time. Crocs Isabella is the model. The model is so important, you guys. If you are selling shoes, especially if you're selling jeans, there's a name to that item. So you're going to put the brand and then you're going to put the name. Don't skimp on that. Don't skip that step. Type sandal, shoes, use the drop down again. Don't just type in 11. Click here so it says US 11. Upper material is rubber. Heel height is super important. It's not starred. But eBay really wants to know the heel height on the shoes. And so if you're doing shoes, every single time you need to put the heel height. Everything else is not that important. Unless your shoe is a narrow width or a wide width, there's no need to actually put the width. It's not really important. So here, the item description, this is where I will go back up and I highlight my title and I put it right back down in the item description, because that will help me come up in Google search. And then I take the exact same thing that I wrote here in the description, in the condition description, and I put it in the item description so that it's in two places, so that if I did mention a flaw, there were two places you could have seen it in addition to me highlighting it in the pictures. And then what I do is I take a moment. I have a pre-filled paragraph that I put in here, but this is where you're going to say something like, thank you so much for supporting my small business today. I work hard to make sure my items are in excellent condition and that all flaws are mentioned and shown. And then you can say something like, I love to combine shipping. You're going to go and figure out what you want to say to your customer, because right here is your little chance to really make your item stand out from somebody else's in terms of giving it that human factor. So, say thank you. Say that you want to provide that 5-star service. Say that you're happy to answer any questions. Go above and beyond in a tiny little paragraph, no more than about 5 sentences or so, maybe 6. And then please don't be that jerk of a eBay seller who writes like payment must be made. Wow, I can't type today. Immediately, that's just crap. And don't tell people all the payment options you take. eBay has already set that up for you. Be a nice person. People know they need to pay right away. If you get the few people that don't pay right away, you can send them a direct message. Use this spot to be informative, kind, and brief. That's it. Then we come down here to the way you're going to sell it. Is it fixed price or auction style? I mostly sell fixed price listings, so that's what I'm going to select today. Start my listings when I submit them. If you're doing bulk listings, like you only do listings 1 day a week, and you're going to set, you do 50 items a week and you do 10 items a day, you'll use this option to get the rest of those listings to go live on, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It will cost you 10 cents additional per listing, and I do recommend that you make those listings go live for East Coast time, so something that's more like a 5 a.m. Ooh, making an eBay sale. For East Coast time if you are having your listings go live. Otherwise, start my listings when I submit them. Choose a price for your item. And then if you're a new seller, I highly suggest you taking offers. It's going to help bring you up higher in search, and it will help you make more sales as you are newer. You may have to sell your items a little bit cheaper than you would like in order to buy those first few sales, but it is worth it to earn yourself feedback. And the more positive feedback you get as a new seller, the more momentum you get and the more you'll be allowed to sell. So do take those best offers. If you don't want to deal with, and if you're like me and you take those offers kind of personally, utilize this function. It says, automatically decline offers lower than $9.99. I don't want to hear from you unless you're going to pay me more than $10, that kind of a thing. It will save you aggravation down the road, I promise you. You're usually just selling one, especially if it's a used item and it's a one-off. If it's used, don't do quantity of 2 if you have more than one of them. do two different listings, because once it's used, it has separate kinds of wear and condition from one item to the other. I don't ever click private listing. I make my donations in other places in my life, so I don't do that. So here, I took out my PayPal email address right here just for privacy's sake. But your payment options, click PayPal and click require immediate payment with Buy It Now. I never put additional checkout instructions at all in my listing. You do not need to worry about the sales tax because eBay will collect sales tax on your behalf. And here's an important thing, returns. And we will do a whole other video on returns, but I highly recommend you take returns. Only give your buyers 30 days and make sure that if you're a new tiny seller, have the return shipping paid by the buyer. If you offer free returns, people will abuse that and it will cost you more money than you're even making. So please don't offer free returns as a brand new seller. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that only benefits larger businesses. Don't offer replacement or exchange unless you have a whole bunch of the same items. So if you're selling used items, don't offer this. International returns are accepted. I usually don't accept international returns because that's a nightmare. So I leave that unchecked. Now shipping, I have a whole video on shipping for you guys, so I'm not going to teach you about shipping here. I'm just going to teach you about how to select your options. I charge flat shipping rates to all of my customers, no matter where they are. You can do calculated, and eBay will calculate the option for you. You just need to know whether your item is going to be going first class because it weighs less than a pound, or if it needs to go maybe in a priority padded flat rate, or maybe it's got to be in a medium flat rate. So if you click calculated, eBay will just collect the actual shipping cost that is needed on your behalf based on where your buyer is. And that's a really easy way to do your shipping in the beginning. I personally like to do flat costs to my shipping. I build in a tiny bit of labor cost into my shipping. So these Crocs will probably cost $5 and change to ship. I'm going to charge a flat rate of $6.50. And that just for me makes sure that I'm getting compensated for the handling of the item and also the poly mailer that I'm having to use and maybe a little bit of my business cards. I'm building in the cost of business into this little additional charge. And honestly, it's not that much higher than what people would pay if it was calculated. You can offer local pickup, but I don't really offer local pickup on my items. I'm private that way, and I don't think that it's necessary. Your handling time, mine is currently 3 business days because we're in a pandemic and I'm not doing daily shipping. Used to be 1 business day, and the less shipping time you have, the closer to here you are, the higher you come up in search because we live in an I want it now society. So you want to offer shipping as quickly as you can manage, as is comfortable for you. I did 1-day shipping for years and it was difficult. I shipped 5-6 days a week and that was very tiring. So if you have lots of kids at home, if this is not your full-time business, do shipping every 2 days. Maybe do shipping every 3 days, and that's fine. I highly recommend you sell internationally with the global shipping program because eBay takes care of everything for you. You don't really need to enter your package type or the weight of things unless you are coming back up here and asking for eBay to do calculated costs for you. That's also one of the reasons that I opt to do flat cost, because giving the dimensions and the weight of every one of my items is really time consuming. But knowing that all my first class items cost anywhere from $4.99 to $6.50 to ship is much easier. So I do it like that because it saves me a lot of time and aggravation. Then you have promoted listings. I do not utilize promoted listings right in my listing, so I wouldn't click that. I would do a campaign with a whole bunch of items. Again, another video that I'll do. Also, volume pricing, I don't do that within my listing. There's a place that you can set that up in your promotions on eBay. So I don't do that either. And then you just click to list item. Give it a moment. It's coming. It usually takes this long. And there you go. You've listed it. It gets an item ID, and then you're good to go. And then you can just say, I'm done now, and go back to your Seller Hub to start a whole new listing. So I hope that was really helpful for you. If you have questions, please let me know down below. If there's any other information that you would like to know about being an eBay seller, please send me a message and let me know down below in the comments. Also, would appreciate it really greatly if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm talking about how to be an eBay seller, how to have some financial freedom in this day and age, and so many other things. So thank you for being here with me today, and have a beautiful day.